a verse or chorus, and I'll tell you which is which. Then I'll tell you that this form is called an octastitch. I'm pants at reading music, and I don't have perfect pitch. But when it comes to writing songs, I've got to scratch that itch. HFO goes live on air, we all expect a glitch. 'Cause every show I do, I know that I will find a hitch. I'm not expecting what I do to ever make me rich. I'm having fun with making music here right now with you on Twitch. Good evening, everybody. It's Valentine's Day. It's the 14th of February 2021. Good evening to Array of Emotions, who says, spiffy. Yes, I finally got round to creating the new opening credits for the show, Array of Emotions. And Ryako Music says, yay! So, yeah, nod to you both with the curse and the subtitles in the opening credits, because where would it be without HFO managing to cock something up on pretty much every stream? And I've now been going for closing in on 40 weeks of doing these shows, and new opening credits are a bit of a history lesson. That first clip is from the first live stream that I did. That was long ago in a galaxy far, far away, and things have changed considerably since then. But enough of that. Valentine's Day. Yes, I hope you got cards. I hope you got chocolates. I hope you got something nice. If that is your sort of thing, didn't get a sausage. But hey, it's HFO. I'm cool with that. Instead, I have been making lots of music. I have been posting lots of music on the February album writing site. Get your sunglasses out, kids, because the big fuchsia has dropped. Yes, the FAWM website has had its annual Valentine's Day makeover, and everything is pink. So yes, every February album writing month on the 14th, the whole February album writing month site goes this gloriously garish slice of pink, and everybody writes songs about it, basically. They complain that their love heart slogan's boring, or just generally make death metal songs about pink, which I did a couple of years ago, and it was very, very cathartic, let's just say. Array of Emotion says, did you finish FAWM yet? Nearly. 2 off the finishing line now. I got 2 out of the door today, and I will be talking about those later on. But let's go back to the main camera. Let's have a chat. Let's just sort of chill out for a bit. How the devil are you guys? Ryako Music says, we're here to harass the Harris. I've only got 3 songs. Yeah, but 3 songs is 3 songs more than you'd have if you weren't doing February album writing month. And that's kind of the point. Somebody wrote a very heartfelt plea in the forums today, which was very simply titled, When You Suck? ? And it was like, well, I'm feeling like this and I don't know what to do, and should I give up? To which I say, absolutely not. You have to do the work. Because that's kind of the whole point of February album writing month. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book Outliers, which we've talked about many times, quoted the work of the educational psychologist Anders Ericsson, who basically said that if you want to get good at stuff, you've got to do it for a long time. You've got to do, well, roughly 8 to 12,000 hours of practice. And Malcolm Gladwell simplified that down, said, you've got to do the 10,000 hours. Well, some people are gods and they're just naturally talented and they don't take 10,000 hours. But in general, yeah, it's kind of a generalization that obviously has caught the public's imagination, because everybody talks about 10,000 hours to do something and then you become an expert. You don't, but at least you don't suck quite as badly as you did when you've only got about 2 or 3 hours under your belt. And the reason why I really sort of evangelize about taking part in FAWM if you want to be a songwriter is that before I started February Album Writing Month, my output level was dire. I'd written 3 songs in about 10 years. And at that rate, I was never going to be any good at a songwriter before I dropped dead. Since I started doing FAWM, I've written nearly 800 songs, and that's in about 11, 12 years. I joined FAWM 13 years ago, but first year I just crashed and burned because I got sent away on business, so I wasn't in my recording studio, which at the time was a Fostex X15 and a guitar. So things have progressed a bit since then for me, but I've spent a lot of time in here. I've spent thousands of hours in here, and it's spending those thousands of hours writing stuff. You're gonna write bad songs. Everybody writes bad songs. Everybody sucks when they start, unless you're Kate Bush. And you've got to plough through the suck and keep doing the work and keep writing songs to get better. Riaka Music says, I won't be finishing FAWM. My song about menstrual cycles made so many women feel seen. Excellent. But yeah, it doesn't matter about finishing it. The thing is just pushing yourself to write just one more song than you would have done if you hadn't taken part in FAWM. And yeah, it doesn't matter what sort of songs you write. They can be songs about menstrual cycles like Riaka Music has been writing, or they can be 8-minute extravaganzas at 30 BPM, which is kind of what I started off with post Thursday's show. So let's go over to Ableton and I'll talk you through what I've been up to this week. So you will remember previously on Headfirst Only Television that Candle, bless his lovely cotton socks, had come up with a completely fictitious genre of music in February Album Writing Month called Slothcore, which he described as being between 20 and 30 beats per minute. So it's leisurely. It allows large pauses for naps. So it basically embodies the physical characteristic of our friend the sloth. And it's got legs. People have really, really taken off with it to the point where if I there's when you suck, there's the forum post, right? So go and check it out. There's some really, 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 really good advice in there. So let's go to songs. Let's search on Slothcore. Let's see what the current count is of songs. 51 songs that fit in the Slothcore genre. Those blue ones there, incidentally, are mine because I have embraced the Slothcore ideal with a vengeance. But You remember last Thursday I was talking about the fact that I'd started off a track by making a bed track and then slowing it down using sliding stretch in Audacity. You can also use pull stretch, which is a standalone application. There are a lot of other ways you can slow down music. And after the show, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to carry on and do this track and finish it off. And I did. And then the next morning I woke up and suddenly thought, Ableton renders at 96 kilohertz if you set it to, doesn't it? And if I'm slowing something down that's been rendered out at 44.1 kilohertz, then basically my sliding algorithm's not got all that much to chew on in between individual samples. But if I rendered the bed track out at 96 kilohertz, that's more than double the amount of samples that the sliding stretch algorithm can grind through. And that's kind of got to make a difference, surely. Well, let's see what happens. In the best traditions of science, I performed an experiment. So, for your delectation and delight, here's the introduction of the original Slothcore bed in sliding stretch, right? Which is the one I actually use for the track. So this is sliding stretch out from a 44.1 kilohertz sample. Okay, fine. So, Revermotion says, or you could play really slowly. You're way ahead of me. Stay tuned. There will be playing really slowly forthcoming. Right, so that was the original version. So I then rendered the bed out in HD and threw that at sliding stretch. And this is what the 96 kilohertz version sounds like. Music says that's smoother. It certainly is, and I don't know how good an audio connection I've got with this stream, but believe me, the difference in the low end through the monitors I've got in here, when I first played back that version, it was like, whoa! So, of course, that meant I had to go back into the finished version of the track because it was no longer finished, and that is the curse of the producer, the bedroom producer. You never ever finish a track. You just stop messing with it. So I took the old sample out, dropped in the new version, and thought, you know what, it's a bit monotonous. It's a bit, there's no chiaroscuro, there's no light or shade, or light and shade even. So I need more contrasts, I thought to myself. And being a synth nerd, I also thought to myself, you know what? I need more synths as well. So buckle up, kids, because this is... And I am going to play you the whole thing because why not? It's my show and it's Sunday night. And we're all chilling out and 30 beats per minute sounds pretty much what the doctor ordered to me. So this is No Rush, Phase 2. So, quick fade on the end there, because this is kind of all about the reverb. So you remember I was enthusing about the Max for Live Convolution Reverb, which drops in Live 9. So Mel, you should have, well, I hope you've had a play with the impulse responses, what I shared with you, and I've also shared them with big old Dave Dude, who immediately messaged me back with, have you got all these? And I now have shed loads of impulse responses. I found I'd goofed, and I'd goofed in doing this track, because if I go to the guitar submix and I call up the Convolution Reverb that I've dropped in there, and yes, it's the Inchin Down Oil Tanks impulse response, which I created myself from a YouTube video of Professor Trevor Cox letting off a starting pistol in the tanks. It's like, perfect impulse response, here we go. Thing is, I've been using Live since version 8. And when I installed version 10, for some reason, it did something different about the user library location, right? So where the factory packs were in version 9 and version 10 are different, which is why when you look at this list of Max for Live audio essential stuff here, there are 2 Convolution Reverb Pros and 2 Convolution Reverbs, and quite a few duplicates of others. And that's because Ableton 10 has been going, well, I'll look at both of them then. So one thing that I have discovered this week, kids, is that the Live 9 Convolution Reverb Max for Live Convolution Reverb Pro has a yellow interface, and the Max for Live Convolution Reverb Pro in version 10 has a blue interface, which means that I've been using the wrong one. Silly me. So I've rectified that in the next Slothcore piece that I will play you. And the next Slothcore piece that I will play you is very, very different in character to this one. But we'll come on to that in a bit, because I want to talk about convolution reverbs. So there are 2 types of reverb, right? There's the version that just models the physics of a space and the propagation of waves of sound therein, and it just does it through maths. You know, it's the mathematics of sound waves. You know, they're just sine waves in effect, and multiple sine waves overloaded on each other in effect, and its variations in air pressure, and its waves bouncing off hard surfaces, which might have different acoustical properties, which can also be modelled so that, for instance, red velvet drapes, or even blue velvet drapes, who knows, absorb a lot of the energy of sound waves falling into them. And this is why a lot of concert halls sound completely different from when the band does the sound check with nobody in, and then they start performing, and suddenly there are 3,000 or 4,000 people all wearing nice sound absorbent clothing, and the reverberation time in the concert hall disappears, because all the sound's being sucked into the clothes of the audience, and yada, yada, yada. So you can model all this stuff, right? So it's, you know, computers these days can do a lot of maths very, 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 very quickly. And then there's convolution reverbs, which cheat. So what a convolution reverb does is it listens to what's known as an impulse response. And an impulse response is literally an instantaneous burst of white noise, or even white noise. an instantaneous burst of white noise, and you do a recording that documents how that initial burst bounces around the space that you've recorded it in, you know. So with the case of the inching down oil tanks, it goes on for rather a long time. If you're in an anechoic chamber, in other words, a chamber that's been specially built to not reflect sound at all, it'll just be dead. You don't get any reverberation time. And real spaces, real impulse responses have astonishing properties. Some of them are really deeply weird. So if you have Ableton and you have installed the factory packs, go to your Documents, Ableton, Factory Packs, Max for Live Essentials, Max Audio Effect, Convolution Reverb, IRs, and you'll find that you have a whole series of folders with lots and lots and lots and lots of impulse responses in them. And if you're like me, you trawl the internet and find lots more. And big old Dave Dude found even more for me today. So I have a lot of impulse responses that have been recorded in real physical places all around the world. So, for instance, there are some very famous abandoned radio tower domes just outside Berlin in a place called Teufelsberg, Devil's Mountain. And the sound that you get inside the Teufelsberg domes is pretty amazing. And somebody's sampled them. They've sampled them in 24-bit. And if I just play you the bang, you can hear the acoustics of the space. Pretty darn good, eh? Let's try another one. It's a smaller dome, so it dies away quicker, and you get things like early reflections. So when you get the initial burst of sound, the walls close by reflect the sound back, and that arrives back at the microphone first. So you'll see some algorithmic devices actually let you set how fast those early reflections come back. And there are all sort of things like diffusion and space and spin that are all to do with the different ways that the reflections then work on the microphone. I found some other ones. I found some great ones. I actually found the honest to goodness Batcave from the 1960s Batman television series. How cool is that? Want to hear what it sounds like? Here we go. It sounds like it's been let off in a dumpster, to be honest. The Batcave is not as big as it appeared on the television. But yes, I've got Inching Down in here. So here's Inching Down, which is the world record reverberant space for a physical, real place. And this is Professor Trevor Cox letting off his starting pistol in it. And yeah, that will just trail off. And Array of Emotion says, I wonder if you could reconstruct the space from the impulse. Well, that's kind of what an impulse response does, because the convolution reverb does the math of figuring out what had to happen to make that instantaneous sound trail off like that. And then it imposes exactly that transformation on any sound that you drop into the convolution reverb. So it sounds like whatever the sound was that you recorded is taking place in that physical space. There are some gorgeous ones that come with Ableton. There's the Grand Basilica, there's Arundel Cathedral's nave, and we'll come back to the physical spaces shortly, because me being me, I've been playing with Convolution Reverbs a lot today. But the reason I'm getting excited by Live 11's imminent release, and it drops a week on Tuesday, is that Ableton have done something very weird with the idea of algorithmic reverbs and convolution reverbs. And they've basically said, well, why don't we do one that does both? So Live 11 will be coming with something called a hybrid reverb, which combines features of both. So it will let you take a physical space and then warp it and do really, really, really strangely odd things to it. Array of Motion says, so could you have a 3D representation? Array of Motion says, I think it's the 23rd. Somebody said it is. So it's a week on Tuesday. I am so excited. But I'm just catching up on the check. So Riaka said, yeah, haven't done any FAWM because, or haven't played with my impulse responses because I've been doing nothing all day except for eating and watching Netflix. So, yeah, that's good philosophy. I can live with that. In fact, I'll probably be taking a day or two this week to do exactly that, because I've been kind of getting ahead of the curve on February album writing month. If you're doing February album writing month by now, you should have 7 songs under your belt. This song for me was song number 10. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to open up song number 12, because I think, 9 minutes of Slothcore, you probably need a bit of a palate cleanser after that, right? Am I right? So Array of Emotion says, you've definitely earned yourself a couple of days off. Ryaka Music says, yeah, you've been going hard. And comment, I can't remember who told us that it's the 23rd. Yeah, did I mention that Live 11 drops on the 23rd? So yeah, Val Cox, bless her, brilliant songwriter, wrote a song today where she was saying some songs you have to sort of work at and others kind of turn up as a gift. And I've had one of both today, and the Slothcore track was more kind of archaeology. You know that there's a song buried under there somewhere, but you've just got to do the work and keep digging until it reveals itself. And yeah, note to self in terms of Netflix, seeing as Mel's mentioned about sitting back and chilling and watching Netflix, I have to watch The Dig, because The Dig is basically one of the Fines boys discovering the buried Viking longship at Sutton Hoo in Suffolk, which is probably the UK's most astonishing archaeological discovery of the late 20th century. And don't know if you saw it on the news today, but Professor Alice Roberts, who does a lot of brilliant science on TV and brilliant science as her job, tweeted last November about driving to somewhere super secret squirrel that she couldn't talk about, where somebody had made probably the most exciting archaeological discovery of this century, and quite possibly of last century as well. And this week they released the news of the discovery, and it turns out, like we've known for a while, that all the blue stones, the big upright sarsens at Stonehenge, in Wiltshire, which is not all that far from me. It's about 45 minutes in the car from here. I've been many times. I love the place. It's an astonishing place. If you're ever in the UK and you get a chance to visit Stonehenge, then please do. So we've known for a while that the blue stones that have interesting acoustical properties were quarried from a quarry in South Wales. They were then shipped across the Bristol Channel and up the river, and then the last few miles were dragged overland to the Stonehenge site. And there was occasional mentions. I think it was Geoffrey of Monmouth who mentioned the fact that there was actually a stone circle near the quarry site where the blue stones that were then taken to Stonehenge had been dug up. And everybody in recent years just went, oh, well, he was just making it up. Turns out he wasn't. And they have now announced that they have found a prehistoric stone circle that's 140 miles away from Stonehenge itself, but it's less than 3 kilometres from where the stones were dug up. So it was like they had a dry run before they shipped all the stones off, and actually had a stone circle locally to where they were made. And it's a fantastic discovery. It's taken them years to find it, and there were just 4 standing stones left in the vicinity. They reckon if those stones hadn't been there, then this new stone circle, well, not new because it's 4,000 years old, this new circle would never have come to light. But yeah, hugely exciting. There was a programme on BBC on Friday night about it, which I am going to iPlayer, so that will be my chill out day. I'll watch The Dig and I'll watch Professor Alice Roberts talking about this new discovery. That should be rather splendid, I think. Right, done talking. I've done talking because Ableton has finished squirreling away the last track that I played you and putting it back into place on the hard drive, and it has now loaded my 12th song of February album writing month. So this is the one, only uploaded it a couple of hours ago, and once again been playing with Convolution Reverb. You'll notice on this version that the interface is blue, because I now know that this is the more up-to-date version of the Convolution Reverb. So I've been into the small spaces, and I've been downloading stuff that big old Dave Dude sent me, and as you can see, I've got rather a lot of options in my drop-down lists now. But I wanted a fairly small room for this one. I didn't want it to sound like a stadium, because this is, well, every year I take it upon myself to do a sort of Tom Waitsy type song. And Tom Waits is the master of the Shaggy Dog story in a song. If you've not heard Missing My Son from the album Orphans, you can find it on YouTube. It's a hoot. Do check it out. Do listen to it. That's kind of the song that I had in my mind when I came up with this. And I've been all about the pianos, haven't I? So I thought, well, what would happen if I just left the keys out? And it was like, oh, that's my title. Leave your keys at the door. And song wrote itself. After 90 minutes from that, oh, I know what I can call this, I had the song finished and uploaded to the February album writing month site. So some songs, as Val Cox said, just are a gift, and this is mine, clearly, for this month. Some of the gigs I end up playing, you know, we'll end up in a fight. the price I'm paying. There it was in black and white. We don't serve pianos. Leave your keys at the door. The air of violence augmented by what they told me, and I quote, "The folk in here, they ain't segmented, but I could read between the notes." They tried to make out this was minor. I should have upped and left right then. The moment I knew its designer was when I heard those words again. We don't serve pianos. Just leave your keys at the door. So that was "Leave Your Keys at the Door," which is my Tom Waits impersonation for February album writing month this month. I left out the Tom Waits drums. I do actually have the Twisted kit, Easy Drummer expansion kit, which is I've forgotten the guy's name, but Tom Waits' drummer basically, and it's a sample of his entire kit, which is full of ironmongery that has no experience of being used for percussion, like hubcaps and goodness knows what else. A glorious sound, but this is, as always, this month, Superior Drummer 3 once again. And yes, I'm using Devin Townsend's Dev Kit from the Metal Foundry Expansion SDX, which I just love. It's a really tight drum sound and there's loads of brass. And yeah, I kind of like that. Reacco Music says, "I like the lack of keys." Kind of secrets in the title. But yeah, a few things I point out on this. That guitar was one take, and it was the first take. And that's what I mean when I say this was kind of a gift. The bass was pretty much, the whole performance thing got to me. It was like I got to the last verse and it was like, holy shit, I'm going to be able to do the bass in one take as well as the guitar. And of course, fatal. And so I flubbed a note in the last verse and I had to punch in, and I just did the rest of it in one take. So one take guitar line, one take guitar solo, 2 takes for the bass. And the vocals were all just one take as well, because by this time I was just like, I'm just going to go with it. And yeah, as I say, as a result of doing that, the whole thing, from thinking of the idea to dropping it into February Album Month's file hosting, and if you donate to the February Album Writing Month site a minimum fee of $25, they will let you host your files for FAWM on the February Album Writing Month servers, which makes posting songs an absolute doddle. And it also helps support all the people who put February Album Writing Month together as well. And they also donate a proportion of the proceeds from donations to February Album Writing Month to a selection of charities every year. So Ryako Music says, well done, I do it every year. Well, yes, of course you do, because it's all about the rock hands. So, yeah, I've been playing with the Convolution Reverb on this. So if I solo the guitar submix and dick around with the different ambiences, you can hear just what a difference it makes to the guitar sound. So if I start, so that's just the guitar through a compressor, and my Moore Ocean machine with a little bit of reverb, but put the Convolution Reverb on. Hear how it sounds? Completely different stereo image as soon as you change the room. I love you, Fat. You can even have a bathroom. Or a bedroom. So you get the idea. I've been having a lot of fun with Convolution Reverbs. So yeah, if you've got live, make sure that when you drop them into that file chain, wherever your factory packs are stored, you can't put subfolders in the different file categories, which are real places, ambience and small rooms, chambers and large rooms, made for drums, halls, or anything else. You can add another directory if you want, but you can't put directories within those directories, because certainly with Live 9 and Live 10, the Convolution Reverb Pro does not play well with nested directories. But if we now return to our theme of the day, which of course is Slothcore, let's bring you up to speed with the other Slothcore track that I've done this week. And so Array of Emotions said earlier, why don't you just play really slowly? And yeah, 30 beats per minute playing really slowly is actually quite interesting. But that's exactly what I've done here. And this time I have the Convolution Reverb Pro, the blue one, so the proper one. So the drums are using the Great Basilica impulse response, and the other guitars are just using my Ocean Machine with a ping pong delay. And this, once again, is at 30 beats per minute. So Ryako said, are there any other sort of attributes that Slothcore has to have other than being between 20 and 30 beats per minute? And Candle's other main criterion for something being Slothcore is that it allows for naps. So you're thinking, well, naps in a song? Well, check this one out and all will be revealed. And this one is quite moderate in length because it comes in at under 6 minutes. So I promise you should be entertained by this. So I made the creative decision to actually fade the reverb tail away, but the inching down impulse response on that 9-string, because the 9-string pretty much hits the sweet spot of 125 hertz in the inching down tanks, it would still be going if I was actually playing the track without the slow fade at the end. It's insane. Racco Music says, I really enjoyed that. That was so doc. Thank you. I really didn't know what people were going to make of that. Apart from anything else, I mean, look at it. There's 3 stereo tracks. That's it. I mean, Fuzzy just said 3? You're slacking. But it didn't really need anything other than that, I thought. And Slothcore being Slothcore, it's like, well, that's how it should be. And there's plenty of room for a nap in the middle. So there you go. I really didn't know what people would make about that. And people are going, oh, I really like that. I was like, okay. So it's really, I find it fascinating that Candle's creation of, an entire musical genre just on the spur of the moment for a laugh has resonated with over 50 people now. Well, 50 songs. Several people like me are getting a little bit carried away with Slothcore and are doing multiple tracks in the genre, but there's clearly something there, that people go, I like that idea, I'm going to do something with that idea. And equally, that people are listening to this stuff and going, oh, I like that. So Ryako, I see my work here is now done, because Ryako Music has now said, I'm going to start my Slothcore song tomorrow. Fantastic. I want to hear this. So between 20 and 30 beats per minute, takes its time. Don't hurry, and have a nap halfway through. Leave napping times. And if you are watching this and you are motivated to make your own Slothcore song, as Ryako Music has just said, let me know about it. Send me a message on Twitch. Send me what are they called on Twitch? Is it a whisper or something strange? Or leave a comment in the YouTube channel with a link to your Slothcore song. I want to hear them, because I think Candle has basically created an entire new musical movement with weird harmonies. Yes, so Ryako Music says, I'm thinking of doing long drawn-out singing notes with weird harmonies. Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely, go there. I want to hear that, because most Slothcore so far is either recited speech that's quite slow or instrumental music. And the idea of properly sung Slothcore, and not, because our friend Sapient, Lord Sapient, has done Slothcore as Slothcore metal with metal vocals, and those are quite something to behold as well. So head over to FAWM.org, go to I'll show you how to do it. So if you want to listen to this stuff, and there's a lot of great stuff going on, then go to FAWM, FAWM.org. Click on the songs tab, and I promise it won't look fuchsia tomorrow. It'll have gone back to a sort of a nice sedate orange tomorrow. And just type in Slothcore when you're on the songs tag, and you'll find 51 songs in there. There's 2 pages of the stuff now. There's everything from doom metal to, electronica, and it's all brilliant. And so let's also, what I should do is give a proper formal nod to Candle. So let's find Candle's original post. Slothcore, very slow, like 20 to 40 beats per minute, dirty and with long pauses to simulate naps. Perfect music for that overworked college/university student in your life. Array Motion says, Doom metal folks are quite used to playing this slow. There's some great stuff out there. If you haven't heard of them, there's a band called FAWM. They played a live show in Jerusalem that lasted 5 hours. Oh, fantastic. That sounds very much my sort of thing. Frankly, Sun have been playing Slothcore for years, haven't they? Really? If you think about it. And I do like Sun. I also have, if you haven't got it, those of you watching, Sun. So it's SUNNO, left bracket, right bracket, right bracket, right bracket, because it's basically a representation of the Sun Amplifiers logo. Sun did an album with legendary vocalist, singer-songwriter who sadly passed away recently, Scott Walker. Yes, Scott Walker as in the Walker Brothers. And the combination is extraordinary, and the album is extraordinary. It's not easy listening. If you struggled with that Slothcore track, then you are probably not going to be in Sun's demographic. But I think it's brilliant, and just the combination of Scott Walker's vocals and stylings and just treatments and wall of noise. One of my friends who doesn't kind of appreciate this music quite as much as I did likened a Sun concert to going and standing next to a 16-wheeler truck ticking over for 4 hours, which I thought was a bit harsh. Array Motion says nothing Sun does is easy listening. Yeah, which is, I mean, like the Walker Brothers were the epitome of easy listening in the 70s, in the 60s, even in the 70s. And then Scott Walker just said, no, I'm just going to do my own thing and forge my own path. And boy, did he do that. Do check out Scott Walker's stuff. Oh, yeah, you are in for a treat. Weirdness abounds. Array Motion says, what's really insane is that Sun has a direct lineage back to Nirvana. And you can hear it. Yeah, you can, the whole grunge sort of tonality and the timbres in it. And to be honest, the 9-string that I use for that, it's one of the reasons I bought it was because it had that sort of post-rock, alt-rock, grunge type sound available within it, even if most of the time I just use it for playing bass now. It's 10:15 here, so it's 11:15 over in Belgium, where Array of Emotions and Ryako Music are. I am going to bid you all a pleasant good evening. There's various other people in the chat. Oh, so Stupid UK Guy, thank you for following me. Do say hello before we sign off in the chat. Yeah, that's kind of it for tonight. I've got 12 songs under me belt from this month's February album writing month, so basically only need to do another 2. Stupid UK goes, hey, caught you at the worst time. When are you streaming next? Mate, I will be here at 7:30, so it's 19:30 GMT on Thursday. I may also be streaming during the week, during the day, because I kind of told myself at the beginning of February album writing month, when you have to write 14 songs in the 28 days, that I'd stream me in here working on music. So that's kind of was going to be the plan last week, and it crashed and burned. But I think I'll probably do that this week. Notifications on. I can already tell I'm going to like your stream. Oh, mate, that is most kind. I do hope so. There is a lot of music. There is also a lot of me completely losing the plot and getting very, very distracted, because that's kind of what we all do over here. So thank you for joining us. So I will be back with Twitch live stream Thursday night number 40. If you want to watch some of the earlier ones, I'm headfirst only over on YouTube, and there are playlists of all the Thursday night show, of the Is It FAWM Yet show, which was the run-up to the shows that I've been doing this February. Before that, it was the 50/90 show, which is the big songwriting challenge of the year, where you have to write 50 songs in the 90 days between the 4th of July and the 1st of October. I've done that challenge every year for 8 years. I think the fewest songs that I managed to write was about 53 songs, and the most was 70 something, because I just got very, very carried away, and I'm getting very, very carried away this month. We're halfway through the month and I'm 2 songs off the finish line, so I will probably be working towards doing a double form where you write 28 songs in the 28 days of February. It's going to be fun, so please come and join me once again on Thursday at 19:30 GMT. I will be back. I am sure Riako Music and Array of Emotions will be back as well. Riako has a stream on Wednesday evenings at 2000 GMT, 2100 Central European Time, and I highly recommend tuning in to that channel as well. But until then, I will bid you good night. In the coming week, I hope you manage to stay safe. I hope you manage to stay well. I hope you manage to stay sane. If you're going out, then please wear a mask. Please obey social distancing rules. They're beginning to roll out the vaccination program here in the UK. With any luck, the end could be in sight and we can start getting back to normal. And wouldn't that be a thing? It's now over a year since I went to a live music gig, and I miss the damn things more than I can say. But until then, have a good one all. Look after each other. Take care. Stay Wayne, and I'll see you on Thursday.